Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Aileen Boundy, host of Align with Your Purpose Real Lives Telesummit. I'm delighted that you've joined us for this first call in the new series, and I'm even more delighted that I have with me on the call Carla Van Walsum, and I hope I've said your name correctly. Carla is a relationship expert with a thriving holistic psychotherapy practice for personal growth and healing in South Florida for individuals, couples, and families. Her extensive study of European, American, and Eastern philosophies provide the foundation for her work. These clinically validated techniques and powerful alternative approaches have helped thousands of clients make quantum progress through her unique combination of psychological, spiritual, and metaphysical approaches, and to heal acute and lifelong patterns of emotional pain, struggling relationships, family burdens, and stress. Carla's style incorporates a great sense of compassion, intuition, empowerment, and respect, and believes in being non-judgmental and looking beyond labels. The result is that she's able to get to the heart of the matter quickly and empower her clients to focus on what can be done to make life shifts. Carla's career as a psychotherapist began in her native Holland, where she studied clinical psychology and integrative psychotherapy. She's very passionate about being a systemic family constellations facilitator, having studied under the direction of the movement's founder, Dr. Bert Hellinger, the Dutch Hellinger Institute, and Boston Constellation Approach. After moving to the United States with her family in 2004, she pursued her vision of bridging traditional and metaphysical approaches by delving into a doctoral program in transpersonal counseling, which she will complete this year in 2013. It's the University of Metaphysical Scientists candidate, and she's the creator of several workshops like Happy Children, Happy Home, Life's Hidden Truths, Adoption, Healing Hearts, and others. Prior to dedicating herself to her true life's passion and purpose of helping transform lives through her personal growth and psychotherapy practice, she enjoyed a successful career as a professional flautist, and she enjoyed an intensive concert life, performing throughout Europe and Israel, participating in numerous radio and TV productions. Carla speaks 6 languages. All Dutch people do speak a lot of languages, I've noticed, and in addition to her personal counseling work, she's a sought-after speaker and workshop presenter throughout Florida, the USA, and Europe. Carla's additional certifications and training include Systemic Family Constellations, Nonviolent Communication, NLP Master Practitioner, Neuro-Emotional Integration, The Work, and Hypnosis. Carla's expertise is widely known, and she's the go-to person for resolving issues with relationships, adoption, divorce, and transgenerational trauma. Welcome, Carla.
Thank you so much, Aileen, for inviting me. It's a real honor.
It's
so much.
Lovely to have you on here, and that's a pretty impressive list of accomplishments you have there. Could you start perhaps by telling us a little about yourself, apart from what we've just covered, where you're from and what you're doing at the moment?
Sure. As you said, I'm originally from Holland, the Netherlands, and so we are neighbors.
Yeah.
And I love my work. Being a musician, I love music, but my true passion was helping people to become more happy in their lives. The Second World War was a shadow in my life, in my childhood, and
right.
It influenced me a lot, my way of thinking, that we should work for a better, nicer world.
Right.
That's how it started.
I see. So when you were a little girl, did you have a dream about what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Yeah, actually, I had several dreams. I think I changed it many times, but the feeling of helping people to be more happy, that was something that thought I had practically my whole life, but I didn't know how to fit that in. I wanted to become a psychiatrist, and then I realized that I cannot see blood, so I'm too empathic for that, so that wouldn't work. So then it became psychology after that. And that became too clinical to me also, because it's very focused on what is wrong with people and focused on the label, and it's very interesting to identify the issue, but like I said, like you said in my introduction, I like incorporating styles and to go to the heart of the matter. And I love that. So that's my passion my whole life, that I wanted to contribute to that. But how? I really didn't know so well.
Right. So I presume you were first living and working in Holland, were you? When you what was your first job or career path?
My first job was being a classical flutist. So I worked in chamber music and in an orchestra. And I studied then simultaneously psychology because that was really what I wanted to do. And so I changed career, and I did that in Holland. I moved 8 years ago, and then I had to start all over again here. Totally, we came here with our 3 kids, and that was not easy because we don't have any family here, and the little family I have is in Holland, and my ex-husband in Israel. So anyway, that was very insightful as well, and I felt very guided that I had to be here. And I never thought I would go to America. I had a great life in Holland, and it brought me here, and I feel like I need to be here, and I feel very good to be here also. So that's great.
So what was it that made you move? I'm curious as to why you moved across to the States.
If
it's not personal.
It is personal, but I don't mind to say it. My 3 children were afraid and uncomfortable to be Jewish because of the situation in Holland, and to have this said in one sentence. So that made me the decision to move, at least for a few years, to go somewhere else, that they will be okay, that they feel okay to be Jewish, and with regards to the past as well. So anyway, I thought I will be here for 3 years. And I decided, well, it's okay, so we stay here. It's good. It's fine.
Yes, that reminds me of. That reminds me of I lived in Greece for a long time, and but I only went for 2 years initially. I thought I'll go for 2 years and then come back, and 22 years later I came back. So these things kind of have a momentum of their own when they get started, don't they?
That is very interesting. Well, one of the things I always said, I am born in the wrong country. I had a lot of clairvoyancy as a child. I shut that down at certain moments, but there were certain things that felt like something is wrong here, and because I was always cold. And now in Florida, that problem is really solved.
Of course.
But it's funny to look back that I said that my whole entire life, I'm born in the wrong country. What a sentence is that?
So you had that sense right from being a small child that you were in the wrong country.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, and I know, for instance, that you are born in a country that you have several soulmates there. Otherwise, you wouldn't be born there, and you have a lot of connections. But you are motivated or driven, maybe subconsciously, to places to go where also soulmates would be, meaning like people to work with or family or whatever. And I can certainly say that about Florida too. I have met several people like such a recognition. That's fantastic.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. So you started sort of moving into psychology, psychotherapy, and developing that. That was before you came over to the States, right?
Yeah. I started that in my 30s, and I came to Florida in my 40s.
Right.
So I worked with the second and third generation Holocaust survivors and children with ADHD. And that was a bit like 2 areas I was very involved with. And trauma, to heal traumas is a very hard thing to do. And to talk about it, that's often not the only solution. So that's why the constellation work is such a powerful solution. And the bigger picture of the family, which is very powerful too. That brings me to the epigenetics, that we are maybe a bit fast going there now.
Before we go there, could you just tell us a little bit about constellation work, what that is? Because that makes me think of stars and the sky, but
you know what? And that's exactly what it is not.
Yeah, I know.
The problem is with that word that people get the wrong idea, and that's a pity, but that's what it is. Constellation work means showing the dynamics within yourself, within your family, within your work, the dynamics like energy fields that are important and often not realized because they are invisible, but the trauma is invisible too. I mean, emotions are invisible. It's all there. So it's just very much the awareness of the energy fields. It's also called working in the knowing field or morphogenetic fields. And when you work at those fields, then like a spider web, the energy shows up and things become clear. So what is family constellations, for instance, doing for you if you have issues, you don't know why you have them, or you cannot thrive in life, you have strange illnesses, strange accidents, you are not really to bond deeply to your partner, you have relationship with one of your kids, you cannot explain why it is the way it is, you name it, so many things. So if you know about our personal soul, that's our own thing, you have also family soul that contains the collected data of what happened in the family for several generations.
Oh, really?
If it's more further away, then it weakens probably. But as several generations are stored in that collective knowingness or knowing. And most interestingly is that traditional clinical science, psychology science, shows that traumas are stored in the limbic brain for like 3 generations. Well, that's also unseen energy. You cannot touch that. You cannot cut it out of the brain. It's there. It's in your energy field. So the constellation work shows where the traumas are coming from, and most of the time you can heal it even. Not the biggest one, like if somebody, for instance, loses his entire family of his own family, personal kids, and his personal life, but also his family, like ancestors, like 40, 80, 60,000, sorry, I go too fast now, 40, 60, 80 people, of course, for a family as an energy field that is tremendously traumatic. And the younger generations can take upon themselves part of that trauma because it's too big to heal that probably within 1 generation. It's too much. And you call it also like splits of the soul. Like the trauma is then a split, a part of the soul that is not able to be healed by that person, so that wanders through the family and it goes to another person. So you can see that very traumatized people, 2 generations later, they can have a child, a grandchild, that is for unknown reasons quite very depressed, or get strange illnesses, or accidents, or you name it. And this work can show in a technique how you use it, why it is that it is, where it's coming from.
That's fascinating, because that really gives me another view on the whole idea of, you know, we're all energy and we're all connected. I hadn't really thought about this, and I'm guessing some of our listeners perhaps hadn't thought about this idea of intergenerational things being passed through families on an energetic level. That's quite remarkable. Yeah,
it is. And we know that we have inherited thinking patterns. That's more on the cognitive level, the highest part of the mind, the conscious mind, but the subconscious mind contains your collected data of your life, your personal life, but also a lot of your family. And that is the second level of the soul. I like, maybe it's nice that I explain a little bit more. You have the third level of a group soul, that is like the peer group or the nation or the group of women or men or sports or religion you are a member of. You are connected to their collective thinking. That's what Carl Jung also expressed, the collective subconsciousness and consciousness. That's the same thing, but you have that with groups. So you can be, for instance, in the military and being a soldier, and with good conscience, you go to another country to kill people because mentally you are convinced that's the right thing to do. And if you would, and you feel okay with that, if you would kill a person in your own country, like the USA, for instance, well, you won't be so honored after doing that. So, but the problem is too, with a good conscience of the group's conscience that you take upon you, you do things. But on a personal level, you pay the price anyway, because the dead people whose death you caused by murdering them, that comes on your private account. And that's why it can be like haunted souls after you, or that people cannot sleep because they are not at peace with that. So it's very important to bring that at peace. And that's what we do in constellation work as well.
I see.
It is a way of thinking. It's, Sorry.
So you bring things up and then deal with them. And I mean, I don't want to go into all the details, obviously, because that's a little bit beyond the scope of this call. But it's really fascinating. This idea. How did you first get into this kind of constellation work that you do? I'm just curious.
Yeah, sorry. It is a German product, so to say. It is by Bert Hellinger, and in every bookstore in Holland, it's on the shelves. And I walked a bit around it, and I started to read about it, and I went to workshops, and I was totally blown away, because it's not only so insightful, but it's also so effective. You can have resolutions so extremely fast. So it saves a lot of time for talk therapy as well. And I combine it. I do people first private. I can do it privately too. I can do it in many ways. And you get much shorter, in much shorter time, you get great effects. So it was in Holland. It's very popular in Europe. It's popular in South America, in the Far East, in Israel, and it is slowly entering the USA. I think we have like 300 facilitators in the USA today. And in England, it's very popular too, Eileen.
Yeah, yes, I've heard of it. And I've also heard of it in Greece too. I have a friend who's there in I don't know if she actually practices it, but she certainly talks about it and has done some workshops and so on. So yes, it is very widespread in Europe, I think. Very interesting. So, when you were shifting from being a flautist, a sort of professional musician, across to this, could you tell us about any significant sort of life challenges that you faced in the process? Was there anything that was particularly difficult to deal with?
Yes, it felt that I was at the wrong place. But you know how it is if you have a talent for something and people encourage you, and it was never my first choice. My first choice was at the end. It was actually psychology when I figured out that psychiatry wouldn't be the way to go. And I still became a musician, and it was not fulfilling. It didn't matter to me if they liked it or not. You know, it matters, of course, for being good at it. Yeah. But I wasn't feeling I was on track. I was not feeling this is what I want to do. And when I looked into the future, I felt a black hole. It was like, this is not what I'm meant to be. And when I thought about psychology and all the other things, I felt my heart singing right away, like, yes, this is what I want. And so I did.
Like that. I like that phrase, but I felt my heart singing. That's a lovely way to express it, because a lot other people I have interviewed and I will interview, they talk about, feeling in the flow, or feeling that things are going right, and to feel that your heart is singing. And that's a lovely image that you gave us there. So thanks for that.
Thank you so much.
And so, as you were doing this, your heart wasn't singing, and what was the...
My flute was singing.
Your flute was singing, but your heart wasn't singing. So, how did you sort of transition from one to the other? Was it? Did it take a long time? Was it an easy process?
The study on itself took a long time, because Holland is complicated. It's a college system. It's now better. You start when you're 18 years old to make your choice, first year of college, and you do all those years, you graduate, and if you want to do something else, you start all over again. So it really took me many years, but it didn't matter. I loved it. I loved to study everything around it, and then I became a mother, so I wanted also to be with my kids a lot of time. I wanted to spend time with them. And so it was great to combine, and slowly it developed into a practice and working here and there. I worked a little bit for the government, and that's how it developed. But it felt like this is what I want to do, and it felt so right on. And then it was not easy. I didn't make it myself easy to go to the U.S., because then you get the issues with the degrees. that they are not mentioned in this, that they are not having the same name, and a lot of issues
Yes.
around that.
Yes.
Very difficult. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You know, I learned a lot. I felt tongue-tied in the beginning. It's, you know, English is not my mother's tongue, so in the beginning I had to really, it was difficult because people didn't listen when I was talking, and I started to stutter even. You know, it was not really, but it's like, it is not easy. It is, you know.
Yes, you don't feel confident in your ability.
No, and the great thing is it brings you to your own weaknesses to get through that. Now I'm totally not concerned. I make mistakes, and it's fine. And I don't talk perfectly. It's okay. And sometimes people are annoyed with it, and I ask them what other languages they speak. And then there usually is a big silence. So I'm like, no, this is what it is. If you don't like it. And I did channeling work on that question because I felt like, you know, it is harder if you're not born here. It's always harder. For some people, it's more interesting that you come from another country, but usually it's more harder. They believe you less. They take you less serious. I have that experience too.
Right.
So then I did some channeling work and asking about it, and they said, you know, it's okay what you do. The right people will show up, and they listen through the language. Your messages come out clear enough. Don't worry about it. So I took that, and okay, so that's it.
That's interesting. That makes me think of a part of my career too, because I was a French teacher originally, and you know, when I learned French in school, you know, you were aiming for perfection at all times. You know, it had to be perfect, and so for a long time I didn't speak much French because I thought, well, I'm going to make a mistake, and I think that's what holds a lot of people back. And I've now got to the point. I mean, I did live in France for a while, and you know, my French became very fluent, and I lived in Greece as well. And sorry,
where did you live in France?
I lived in the north of France, quite near the Belgian border. Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, it was very nice. And what I've come to realize, you know, because I do speak Greek, I mean, I can cope very well, but it's not perfect by any means. There are all sorts of grammatical mistakes, but I've come to realize that, just like you just said, it's not really the actual language. It's the message that you're communicating that's the important thing. So as long as you can say it fairly clearly, you know, the odd grammar mistake is not going to really hold you back that much. So in your introduction, I said that you speak 6 languages. Can you just tell us which ones they are? Because languages are my thing, so I'm kind of interested. So we've got Dutch and
you start
English.
with Dutch, and then English, German, French as well, Spanish, and Hebrew. Do I have 5 or 6 now? I learned also Italian because of the operas, but I don't put that on the list anymore because I never spoke that really. I understand it very well, and I can read it quite well because I had to learn that in the music history there.
Of course, yes.
And, beautiful. But you know what? I am now not so happy with all those languages because when I start to speak Spanish, after 3 words, automatically I start to speak Hebrew. So it's even worse. Making mistakes. It's like getting confused, like, because I don't practice those too much. You know, certainly, like English, it's really the language I'm thinking in now. And, and I speak fast. I try not to do, but I do it anyway. So if I have to think too much which language I'm choosing now, it takes time.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And do you find that you use different languages for different sort of areas of your life? I mean, I know that your professional life now is obviously in English most of the time, right? But do you sort of go back into Dutch for any particular life area? I'm thinking of I knew some people years ago who spoke several languages. They were from the Middle East, and they spoke, you know, English, French, Greek, Arabic, and whenever they argued, it was in Arabic. And whenever
that was their first language, I suppose.
There were they were at least bilingual, so I guess that's a different.
Were they
But
from
anyhow,
Cyprus? That looks like Cyprus.
no, they were from the Middle East. I forget which country, but the Middle East. Anyhow, I'm sorry, I'm getting off track here, but it's
no, that's fine.
Really interesting. So if we can get back onto this, our question of purpose, and what to you is the most important thing a person can do in order to find and align with their purpose? What sort of advice would you give people who
yes, to meditate on the question. If you have this feeling that you are not sure and you feel like it is out there and I cannot find it, well, I think it's very important that we learn to trust ourselves, our inner voice, much more. It's like almost the opposite of science. We have been trained so much to think scientifically. If we can prove it doesn't exist. And, it's just a feeling, we don't take that serious. But I learned the other way around. That was a part of my journey by coming here. There were certain difficulties that popped up. We started to lose a lot. A lot of things were very difficult. And I really found many answers in the metaphysical approach of life. But I listened, for instance, to Wayne Dyer, and he said one sentence that I use that a lot too. In the meantime, I intend to feel good, to focus on feeling good. And that gives that creates so much peace in yourself. So if you want to really feel better than you do, meditation is a great way to get there, even a few minutes a day, but to go to that place of calmness and peacefulness. And then you clear, in a certain way, your corroded link with the other world. So you get much more inspired, you get much more inspiration, you get creative ideas, and you feel like going to places. So you listen more to your inner guidance, and that can appear as whispering in your ears, or a thought in your head, or a feeling in your heart as well. Like, I want this for whatever reason. I don't know, but I want to go there. And that's when you open a door and it unfolds. So meditation, set aside that it's so great for this, it is such a healthy thing to do anyway.
Yes, it has massive benefits all around. And it's quite interesting that you talk about this, because from the first telesummit I did, afterwards we sort of worked on the content of the whole telesummit, all of the interviews, and put them together and made it into a sort of a 5-step process for aligning with your purpose. And the first step, of course, is go within and connect with your higher self. And that just works beautifully. It fits beautifully into what you've just said as well. Yeah. So.
Well, we have so much available to use to our disposition, and we forget about it because we don't know. We haven't learned it. And I heard some people here in Florida have been fired as school teachers because they were teaching the children to meditate. And I think it's such a waste, because it's
they lost their job.
Yeah, they lost their jobs. Not now, but a few years ago, it was seen as kind of occult or religion. It's just quieting your mind as a technique to create inner peace. That's typically done by people who don't know anything about it. They don't understand it. And they need it so much, because this country is overflowed with people who have issues because of stress. And I think 75% of the coronary diseases is based on stress. Just stress. So we learn to work hard, but we don't learn to relax. And television is not relaxing, it's distracting.
No.
It doesn't relax your nervous system.
I just want to make a quick announcement, Carla, because it looks to me, I was just going to look to see if there are any questions, and there seems to be a technical glitch with the question page. So I hope the people on the webcast are still able to hear us. If not, or if there's been some sort of technical problem, then of course they'll be able to catch the replay on the website afterwards, on the Align with Your Purpose website. I just wanted to say that, because I was hoping to be able to to have some questions from the listeners. There was one before, just as we started, that I mentioned to you, so if I can remember that one. It was someone from Saudi Arabia who said, I'm an artist and I work in a bank. How can I align with my purpose? What would you tell that person?
Well, that is a practical question because he is an artist. That tells me that he is already aligned with something he's very passionate about. And then he does a job in a bank probably to provide him some income, and he doesn't like it too much. So that means he needs to, I would say, hire a coach or find somebody or talk with somebody who helps you to find your purpose and to make it practically working in your life. That's usually, it's like overbridging your passion and your need for making a living, and you need to do some work to start to believe very much in what your passion is, that also can provide you making a living. Then you need, again, to probably do more meditation or listening to guidance in order to get there. And that's one of the metaphysical standpoints. You follow your bliss, you will be successful. You know, the money will show up if you do what you really are passionate about. There's so much emotion involved that aligns with abundance. So you will get more. You will make a living at the end. But we have so much fear thinking involved in our system, and that blocks. So I would love to work with this gentleman to help him. And he could, if he feels like, he could absolutely approach me and we can work on Skype. But it would be easy to open doors. It's great. I love these questions because that's what you want, that everybody is doing what he likes to do or she likes to do.
Well, that would be wonderful, but, you know, for so many people, I mean, I know I was brought up to think, well, you know, you don't really expect to like your job. A job is something that you do to make some money to pay the bills. And,
Is that terrible?
You do what you like in your free time when you've finished your job and all your responsibilities and so on. And I think it certainly took me a long time to work through that belief, because that's a great example of a limiting belief, isn't it? That really keeps you stuck.
And I can totally see that because it's probably inherited from families, from generations, also from a time that they were poorer and they didn't have many choices. Now, today, there are so many more choices. There is so much to do that if you want, you can open a door so much more easy compared to like 200 years ago or 100 years ago.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so that's the bliss of this time, the blessing of this time period we are living in. And, so gratitude, you know, the moment I talk about it, I feel the gratitude for that right away. Gratitude is a great way to focus on, also to manifest more of what you want into your life because you are aligned with goodness that is just around you.
That's great, yeah. Thank you. What was I going to ask? What's the biggest myth that you've come across that you're aware of around finding your purpose?
That's an interesting question. The biggest myth that actually what you said there before, that who says you will be successful or it won't work or it's dangerous or, you know, all these, the limiting beliefs, and that are usually inherited thoughts or the thoughts that are living in your environment of your peer group or your family or whatever.
So people you're influenced by,
you know, it is also about confidence, and that brings me to one of my favorite topics, like my Happy Children, Happy Home, to raise children in a way that is love-based, without criticism, that just, you know, in a respectful way, because if you realize that an average person of 16 years old, and that is science, has heard 180,000 times that he or she is doing something wrong, which takes away a lot from your self-esteem and your self-confidence. And self-esteem and self-confidence are ingredients to be successful in life. So if you don't believe so much in yourself, you think, oh, so super, you don't have so much to offer, then it's very hard to live your life purpose and to become a free bird, to make your own decisions against everybody's ideas and just follow your path. I'm always very impressed. I usually don't say always, but now I say it with the story. I think it was Edison who tried 4,008 times to make a light bulb, or 2,008 times.
It was a lot. I don't remember the number.
I will back off after 8 times or 9. And he went on so many times. So he believed, he felt deep down, he lived the truth. He had the truth there. So it's amazing. And these are examples to people to listen to. That's very important. And then if you know what is your weak point, your self-confidence, if that's partially damaged, then you need to do some work to get that back up. And same thing with self-love. There's a lot of self-love taken away by all the belief systems around us, and the comments, and also the punishment, and even the reward. It's the same thing. So it's harder to live your life purpose if you don't feel confident with who you are, and if you don't believe that your message is really something, I don't mean ego-based, but your message is coming also from the heart-based truth, that you really have something there, that feels good, and then you don't care what other people say about it.
Exactly. Yeah, you feel strong enough about it. It's interesting that you mentioned self-esteem, because tomorrow night's call is with Dr. Joe Rubino, who is, a self-esteem expert, and I know he'll have a lot to say about that. So that's a nice coincidence. Well, no coincidences. There's a reason you said that. Carl, there's been a lot of interest and discussion about a new era of humanity, in particular since last December. Since people were saying the world's going to end was one side of it, and then the world is ascending to a different level. The other, if you look at the other sort of extreme, do you have any thoughts on this, on what's going on and what you've noticed?
I am actually looking forward to the new time that things will change. I'm very optimistic, and I think a lot of people have a pessimistic view because the news is not such a happy information usually. But it never has been. If you do not know history well, then you won't be bothered by what was happening in the past. But I don't think the past was fantastic at all. And some energy or consciousness, I would say, in this world is a lot of people are starting to align with that, becoming much more spiritual, like free thinking. It doesn't mean binding to, how do you say that, to a certain religion. It's like, a general feeling. It's looking at other things than what you just see. And that could be anything. So that is growing, and people are more aware. Yes, I think it's fantastic. And if you see all the self-help books that are developed last years, it's amazing. There's so much out there that people can heal themselves and try to heal themselves. That's fantastic. And that creates totally different consciousness. And I believe also that every day you have all the time the choice to think positive, to think negative. And we can turn all the time, and that's so simple. There are such simple techniques to turn it around and to find the love, to find the goodness in people, to find the goodness behind things, and to be aware of that. That creates much more positivity in the world. And I learned to think so much in energies. And when you align to that energy of love and compassion and trust, then you feel yourself a better person already. You feel you're uplifted, and that I see happening on a larger scale. I see it even in Florida. I'm here now 8.5 years, and I see a huge difference in what people are putting out there on the internet and what they are doing in their work than like 6, 8, 7 years ago. It's really different. I did soulmate classes years ago, 7 years ago, and now I see so many people writing about it. Not that it matters. There's enough for everybody to do. But that's a great development. It means people are...
I mean, more people are doing them, or offering them, yes.
Yes, and taking... That's empowering, taking your power in your hands. Like, instead of the effect like, oh, I feel miserable because something is lacking. No, I'm starting to work on it, and I want to manifest it. I start to use it. And that's great, I believe.
Yeah. And would you agree that it has to start at a personal level, or for you, would you start on a personal level, or would you be better going to the multi-generational stuff that you were telling us about? When you start working,
you mean with regards to what? I did not totally understand your question. I'm sorry.
Yes, I mean when you're say you're trying to help someone get clearer about what their life purpose is. Would you start with them and sort of where they are right now, and then go into, what's around them and what their influences are and the intergenerational things? Oh,
excellent, this question. Thank you. I would always go personally first because I need to know about them, what they think, what they want, what they feel, So I identify what I think that is needed, and then I will look for what steps could be taken. So that could be we do after one personal session, I would invite that person to go to a group constellation to get things differently clear, but I can do it also with footprints and little puppets in a private session. It depends on the personal wish as well. But I think we are all different, so you always need to look at the person first, and from there you go to certain places. But if somebody is already on a path of discovery and that person shows up and says, I want to do a family constellation workshop with you, I would always ask them what you would like to gain, what's the reason that you would like to do that, and then I give my recommendation. So that's either, it could be either way. But I think the personal sessions, the personal work, it's nice to have it personalized because it's totally there for you. And the constellation group is a different experience. It's fantastic because you connect on a different level. It's very beautiful, and you really get a lot out of that too. And you connect with other people, and you touch those energies of love and looking beyond our simple judgments. And that's a beautiful experience too.
Right. So when you do a group session, how many people are you talking about? Is it a small group or?
It depends. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes 15, sometimes 25. Oh. It varies. Wow. Yeah. I like to do it at least with 8 people. And if I have, sometimes people say they're coming and they don't. Then I have 5 people that happen. That doesn't matter. Then I work around that. And it's more personal. That's nice too. I have the footprints. I can work around it anyway.
Sure.
And, so the intimate setting is nice. 25 is a nice group. If it gets bigger, it's more like an audience and learning thing, and that's nice too. Yeah.
More like a class, really, in a sense.
Yes, but you still feel the energy. It could be that I like to work at half circles if that's possible, and it could be that things happen in that knowing field. So what I said, the morphogenetic field that's very emotional, then that energy is so strong that goes as a wave to the audience, and then everybody is crying. That's very interesting to see that. It's not because you hear something that is so dramatic. No, you get that energy, you get that feeling.
Yeah.
So it's funny that people who are very left-brained, dominant with thinking, that they have like a lot of resistance, like I don't believe all that, and then they are there and they have those experiences, and you cannot deny it. You cannot deny it. So I love that. I love that. I really love that.
It's really interesting because, I think experiences are really important. I mean, that's how we change, isn't it, through different experiences that we go through. And it's
true,
difficult. It's a little difficult talking about it. It's because we don't actually have the experience. But
that is so true. It is so difficult to explain, and I'm at peace with that too. I just do it here and there because now it pops up, and that's what it is. And people are really invited to go to my website. There's information, or with other practitioners. It doesn't matter. It's great to read about it. And
Am I right in thinking, Carla, that you are going to be able to do some process or a meditation for us tonight?
Yeah, I almost forget that.
Yeah, me too. It's because that would be an experience, wouldn't it? That would be lovely if you could. Are you ready to do that?
Absolutely, and we can start actually right away. Then,
okay.
So I will start the process. I don't have music here, but that doesn't matter. It might be distracting as well for the sound quality. I'm not sure.
Don't worry,
if I talk like this, is that still loud enough?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, good. Because when I do the meditation, I always start to talk a little bit softer, and it would be a pity if nobody would hear it. And,
no, I can hear you. Yes.
Great. So I would like to suggest that you sit relaxed, or if you lay down, that's fine too. You uncross your legs, and you take a very deep breath in, as deep as you can. Your shoulders stay low, and your tummy, your belly expands, and you take in peace, harmony, and love, and you let it permeate through your entire body and all your cells, and you let it clear your whole system. And then you exhale, and you let go of everything that you don't need and what doesn't serve you. And you take a deep breath again in your own pace. And you take in again love, harmony, and peace. Just by saying and thinking those words, you pull that energy towards you. And you fill your entire body with it. And then again, you exhale and you let go of all unwanted thoughts that you do have, if you have them. And you continue to breathe slowly and deeply in a comfortable way. Then I'm asking you to picture in your mind's eye yourself. You see yourself standing somewhere. And you position across from you, opposite from you, on the right side, your father, and next to him, on the left side from you, his wife, your mother. So you're standing opposite of your parents, and you look them in their eyes, and you stay as near or as far away as is comfortable for you. And then you position behind them, behind your father, his father, and next to him, his wife. And behind your mother, her father, and next to her, and next to him, his wife. And you do the same with your mother. You do it with everybody. You have 4 grandparents standing there behind your parents. And you look at them as well. And behind them, you put your great-grandparents. You start with the man on the right side, his wife next to him, and so on and on and on. You don't have to know them. You don't need to know their faces. You just sense their presence. And you continue to do this with the generations behind them. And you will see slowly that an ocean of people shows up like a flat triangle. And you maybe sense like thousands of generations. And you sense their energies. And you sense whatever was with them. Their fates of their lives, painful, joyful, everything. You might see colors. You might see or feel sensations. It's all good. And you look at that and you say, you had your fate. I live mine. And you detach yourself from the influence of their fate. If it is negative, if it is heavy, if it doesn't belong to you. You acknowledge it. You honor them. You honor their lives, their passion. And you leave it there. And then you look at your parents. And you look them into their eyes. And you bow for them. You bow for them. And then you feel the honor you have for them. You feel the acknowledgement you have for them. And it might be sometimes very hard if it wasn't easy. And you acknowledge your own pain and your own suffering. And you honor yourself in that. And then you stand up straight again. And you look at them again. And you say, thank you for giving me my life. It was the greatest gift that you could give me. And for that, what was missing, I can take care of myself. And you feel very empowered and at peace when you say this. You feel your uniqueness, yourself, in your personality, in your core, your being, your essence. And you look at your parents again and you say, please look friendly at me when I turn around. Please bless me in all I do in my life. And you feel very blessed and loved. And you turn around and you look at your future. And you feel behind you all those family members, those ancestors, and you feel their support. And you feel the love coming from them. And you look right in front of you at the parents and grandparents and all those behind you. And you see your life path. You might see the children you have or you will get, or your grandchildren you will have or you might get. You see your purpose. You see the work and your passions you have. And you feel very empowered in deciding whatever is for you to do in your life, whatever is important for you to do. And you feel very aligned with yourself and your purpose. And it is overjoying to feel that you are seeing there what belongs to you. You are freed from the past just by deciding so. And you look into your future. And you know that any time in your life from now on, you are able to go back to this picture and you can take it into your heart and you take it in your core and your essence. And it's you, the real you. You stand in your power, you feel loved, and you feel who you are, totally at peace with who you are. And while you take this in deeply in your heart, in your spiritual heart, behind your backbone, you slowly come back to the room. Whenever you are ready, you open your eyes, and you are back with us.
Wow. Thank you, Cara. That was lovely.
You're welcome. That's funny that you say lovely, because sometimes, often I hear like this was moving or they felt. How was it for you?
Well, with the ancestor part, when I was sort of picturing all these generations behind my parents and grandparents, as it just kind of filled up with people, I felt a sort of a heaviness. I felt quite heavy. And then after I turned round and looked forward as you were talking, the heaviness went and I just felt much lighter. I felt a real sense of buoyancy and lightness. And I haven't moved. I'm just still sitting in the same chair. But that was really powerful. Thank you. Yeah.
You're so welcome. But isn't that amazing that with the guided imagery, what it in a way is, what you can experience, and that you see that if it's in your mind there, how you can really detach also. And that you feel that empowerment in front of you. That is, and you have sensed the heaviness. They might have suffered a lot. They might have been in wars and in poverty and arranged marriages, abuse. We don't know. But usually we have a lot in our baggage. In the family baggage.
I have to check with my son because he's traced our family tree back to I forget which date, but way back. And on one line of it, and so we have all the names, and it's quite, it's kind of fun to 1011, back to the year 1011. He just told me.
That's amazing.
So
that's fantastic.
Because he's done that, and I've seen his family tree, I can actually, when you were saying, imagine all your ancestors behind your parents, I was sort of thinking of the family tree in a way, and how it spreads out and grows. Yeah, that was lovely.
That is like 1,000 years. Yes, and the personal information about how they felt, and how if they were suffering, and what was the misery of their life or their joy, we don't know that. That's not usually in the family tree, but that's again energy fields that show up. Yeah.
But I hope that there were some good times as well, that can come through as well, right?
That would be nice. Absolutely. Yeah. No, of course.
I know in your work you're obviously focusing on helping people heal from difficult things that have happened or traumas or whatever. But I think it's, as you said before, we can always choose and choose to focus on the positive in any given moment, can't we? So that's a good thing.
But there is so much out there available in our lives, in our world now, like good health care, support. There is so much. I mean, 1,000 years ago, you didn't have all that, and people died sooner, and there was totally different way of living, more war, and now there's still a lot of war going on too. I think we always will have war. It's kind of a human thing to do. I don't know. But, that's true, the choice. But that's a higher consciousness, and you don't feel victim anymore, and that's the good thing. That's what that disturbs me a lot with therapeutical work, that people stay as a victim in their situation by talking about what happened in their lives and made them feel miserable. They think, yes, it's me, this is the effect. And I'm a victim of that, and you need to honor that and acknowledge that and to go through that and then go to the choice, what do you do with that? But again, if you have a survivor who lost his entire family, it's easy to say, don't feel a victim. That's a bit too short either. We shouldn't be judgmental there either. It's always about the compassion and the love to share.
Yeah.
I think that's very healing, those energies.
So, Carla, I just wanted to mention that you have a free bonus gift. Now, if anyone is still on the webcast and is listening to us, then it's on the page that you're on. It says, let me just see the actual words. It says bonus audio. Could you tell us what that is? It's also on my website, but just tell us what the audio is.
I believe that I described there in an interview the family constellation work with a certain example.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Lovely. So that's more information about that. I'll be sure to listen to that. And also, I know that you have a special offer set up.
That's my passion too. That is from the Happy Children, Happy Home. It's an e-book, what I use in my workshop series. And it's the first time I launch it as an e-book, and that's part of it. And then 6 MP3s, and Happy Children, Happy Home. And it's about color psychology, what you can do with colors to help your children, to help yourself, your life, the chakra clearing as well. The 7 essentials for a happy family, I designed them myself. They're kind of metaphysical. And I have to do it by heart, punishment, reward, what you can do instead of that. And very important, the crystal clear communication. That's the 5 steps model. It includes the nonviolent communication of Marshall Rosenberg. That's a very fantastic model to have no conflicts, to have your needs met, and every relationship improved. When I started my workshop, Happy Children, Happy Home, and it's the red line in my work is communication. The first workshop series here in Florida 5 years ago, I had 7 mothers and 1 father signing up, and after 6 workshops, that was the whole series, I had 7 men and 1 woman. So they sent their partners because everybody realized, their relationship improved so much. And that's always a wonderful story to me. And that was really great. So there is a lot to do to be more happy in your life. So my audios are about that. And and also if you order that package, I offer a free consultation over the phone, Skype, worldwide, wherever you are, for 20 minutes for free. And then you can have personal questions. Yeah, that's fantastic. So for anyone who's interested in taking up Carla on this fantastic offer, it will be on the webpage, on Align With Your Purpose, on the webpage that you got the link to in your email. And I will have the bonus offer is up already, the free bonus audio, but I will have the special offer link as soon as we finish this call, because we've had some technical challenges, haven't we, Carla, with websites terrible.
and such like websites and such like in the last couple of days. You and me.
But it's solved. It's solved.
It's solved. Yeah. The more people I talk to about this, the more people are telling me this is the planet Mercury in retrograde. And I don't know a lot about it, but a lot of people seem to relate to that. So, well, Carla, one last question. Who inspires you?
In my life? So many. Yeah.
I don't mean you have to pick one person, but if you have one person or people that you are particularly inspired by.
I would say maybe Gandhi, the Dalai Lama, Marshall Rosenberg, Wayne Dyer, Kabbalah, the Jewish mysticism, the Jewish religion in a way too. Actually, practically every big, I can't believe it's hard to choose. It's
I know. Yeah.
I mean, the Course in Miracles, Attitudinal Healing from Jerry Polsky. Everything who works with the heart is love-based and knows about where to do the things, and that's really inspirational. And Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Carla, it's been lovely talking to you. I'd like to thank you very much for
Thank you so
for
much. It
joining
was
us
great
here.
talking to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry that the questions didn't work. I'll have to find out what happened there. But hopefully people will, if they didn't catch it all, they'll be able to catch the replay. It's available for 48 hours on the website, and I know that lots of people, for timing reasons, they can't always make a live call, but they can get it there. So that's all for today, everyone, and I'd just like to thank Carla once more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aileen. It was fantastic to be here.
We'll say goodbye to everyone. Bye.
Goodbye.